Hello everyone, and welcome to the classroom. Today we'll be discussing one of the most horrifying tales I've ever read, Junji Ito becoming a cat dad. Thank you for kicking off the spooky season with me. Let's get going. Junji Ito has been one of my favorite artists for a long time, and I don't just mean his incredibly iconic artwork, but his writing too. His work is a fascinating window into a world of horror which is unmistakably Ito, from his incredible line work in stories like Uzumaki, to mysteries like Black Paradox with winding twists and turns, and some of the cheesiest dialogue I've ever read in my life. Ito has been a long-time favorite on my channel. I've talked about Best Girl Tomi, put together a perfect reading guide, and even put him in a fighting game. But today we're talking about his most autobiographical work, like King with Misery, King with The Shining, and King of Queens with Kevin James. Junji Ito's Cat Diary is one of my favorite things that the author has ever written. While he has a masterful sense over both cosmic and supernatural horror, here these scares are much more domestic. Not the kind of gritty, shit-your-pants, at-home horror such as the likes of The Strangers or the 1974 Black Christmas. No, the terror Ito presents in Cat Diary is far more realistic than even the most genuine scares in your typical horror, while still maintaining an incredible art style with countless panels that will one day be in my Junji Ito museum. Admission fee? $1 billion. Junji Ito's Cat Diary was originally published in Japan back in 2009. The collector's edition released here in all of the states, even Kansas, in 2021, and is really nice. It even glows in the dark. Here. Check it out. The opening story is about a younger Ito, referred to here as J-kun, having just bought a home with his fiancée in the town of Gifu, where the mangaka's life is upturned by the arrival of an unexpected housemate. But unlike in so many horror stories, it isn't a ghost or a malicious demon. Speaking of which, I watched The Changeling the other day, still really holds up. George C. Scott gives a really good performance.
Let's focus on what's happening with the cat, alright?
Right, thank you, Charlie. Ito's fiancée, referred to as Eiko in Cat Diary, reminds her husband that they'll be adopting the slender black and white cat Yon from her mother, also known by our main character as the cat with the cursed face. J-kun is at first uncertain at the prospect of having a cat, but soon falls head over heels for a Norwegian forest kitten, brought to their home before the accursed Yon for each of them to have a friend. Junji Ito's Cat Diary is a lovely piece of horror comedy. J-kun, Eiko, Yon, Mu, and even more members of their family paint a lovely story for the horror season, reminiscent of watching Halloween Town or The Addams Family. Ito has an incredible ability in practically all of his stories, but especially Cat Diary, to weave laughter and joy into his horror. Mu, the Norwegian forest kitten, is undoubtedly the more lovable of the two, a regal cat who would almost resemble a lion if not for the gray and cinnamon pattern of his coat. Yon, however, known as the cat with the accursed face, is certainly more of a cat lover's cat, which is to say he's evil and kinda ugly. Cat lovers are whipped. Yon is a white cat with just a few black patches, including a striped tail, a marking around his right ear, and a group of 4 markings resembling a skull on his back. My cute little kitten. I'm a little whipped too, maybe. Quickly, the engaged-to-be-married couple's home is overrun, not just by the 2 kittens, but by plastic wall protectors, fine scratches on the hardwood, and even the lingering stench of litter. While his fiancée is a cat lover from her upbringing, Junji has a significantly harder time adjusting to his new housemates. Unsurprisingly for this author, however, he becomes closer to them in the dead of night, while horrors lurk throughout their home. After a failed attempt to get the cats to snuggle him through kidnapping and treat bribery, the author finally gets closer to the accursed Yon. After a late night of work at home, J-kun leaves the safety of his office, where he finds a thick line of mucus across the hardwood. A giant slug has made its way into the home, reminiscent of Ito's other works. After a wonderfully horrific reaction, Ito realizes that the gigantic gastropod mollusk is simply Yon, stretched into yet another strange position. He greets him and tries to get back to work, when he is attacked by a Tsushinoko, a mythological serpent of Japanese legend. This is also Yon. J-kun is having a difficult time differentiating between the real and the imaginary monsters that now occupy his home, when he finds the sweet, cuddly Moo in the bathroom. Moo bites now. J-kun escapes his attacker in the bathroom before finding an intruder. This old man thinks he can sit in Junji's home and watch the baseball game, and what's up with those stupid... Oh, hi, Yon. Some cats have a habit, especially if they are weaned off of their mom too early, or too late I think, where they'll suckle on your finger. Yon has only shared this intimate connection with his new mom, Eiko, much to Junji's horror. But at the tail end of an all-nighter of work, Yon comes to J-kun not with the visage of a slug, a Tsushinoko, or even an old man. While J-kun mutters to himself over needing to rest and recuperate, Yon jumps onto his lap. And like he could understand him, Yon begins to suckle on the beleaguered author's finger, with a weird little face, but that's okay, we love him. While Ito still expresses his horror artistry at every chance he can through overexpressive faces, slithering monsters, and even the simple hanging shadows of nighttime, this is really where Cat Diary shines. The story of J-kun, this version of the beloved author learning to love these new members of his family, is fantastically heartwarming. Whether it's mastering the cat wand, territorial battles over the cat tree, or even Ito turning his home office into a cat home office. This growing love is all over the book, even in special Q&As about Ito's family and pictures of the titular kittens. But this is still a Junji Ito story. Horror obviously has to be a part of it, even more than the comedy, which is always present in his stories as well. Here, the horror takes a much more realistic turn. While Ito is usually kind enough to give us slug women, evil spirals, murderous balloon heads, Cat Diary presents very mundane horrors. In the sixth story of Cat Diary, Junji tells a tale that shivers the spine of every pet owner, prison warden, and Lemoyne gun shop owner.
The Great Escape.
In contrast to Moo, content to sit and snuggle, Yon is the more curious of the cats, always expressed through his outstretched and slinky frame. Yon has escaped, pushing open a loose window screen. Even if you've never experienced it, every pet owner has felt the gripping fear that their precious little baby angel has gotten out. J-kun and Eiko begin searching for the cursed kitty, first with the horror author searching the side of the highway, luckily not finding Yon as roadkill. Eiko searches their neighborhood, recalling the advice of a cat expert while she tries to stay calm. Cats typically stay near their home when they escape. Yon has hidden himself in the corner of a local plumber's storehouse before entrenching himself further into the hollow walls. The story becomes a community affair, with the plumber and his son coming to help get Yon out of their walls, while J-kun and Eiko try and coax Yon out with food and the threat of affection. With a hilarious image of victory to finish out what has been the most stressful story by far of any story. There's a less pulse-pounding but still anxious story for any pet owner in Moo's castration. Haha, Moo L. Casual classroom W. J-kun has been put up by his manga company in a 5-star hotel, having a hot shower before enjoying a glass of wine with a distinctly smug smirk, before being quickly racked with guilt at the kitten who has become his precious baby boy not joining him, not being fitted with his own little cat robe. I know I've been referring to both of these cats as kittens, that's because all cats are kittens because they're all little babies, But Moo is an actual kitten, and so it's come close to that special time to have his nuts chopped off. This story reflects the same everyday horror as Yon's escape, as when they come to pick up Moo from the vet, he still hasn't woken up from the anesthetic. Lightweight. Jae-kun and Eiko arrive home for a night of restless sleep, worrying about their kitten before returning to the vet in the morning. He greets them with a grim expression, leading them to the back of the office, before showing them that Moo's completely fine and adorable. I think he's related to that Arrested Development doctor.
Oh no, you're not taking care of my son.
I'm sorry to say this, but it's too late for me to do anything for your son.
Let him keep talking.
Because Dr. Stein here has already been assigned to his case.
Junji Ito's Cat Diary is an incredibly unique story, especially from this author, something that balances horror, comedy, and heartwarming moments so well. Not just the horror of monsters or overexpressed faces, but the horror of one of your pets, your precious baby angels, getting out of the house or just not having the best possible life that they could. There's one more story I'm going to cover today. I don't like going through anything point by point, and I would really like for you guys to check out Cat Diary for yourselves. The final story of the collector's edition of Cat Diary is a bonus one, a little gift. The gift of overwhelming sadness. It's only 2 pages and follows the family, now 2 children bigger, moving to Chiba, the capital city of Chiba Prefecture, about 25 miles east of Tokyo. The story, titled Yon Went to Heaven, is an extremely brief but touching treatise on the awful but always expected passing of a pet. We see Eiko in just one panel go through what so many pet owners have experienced, the frantic weeks and months of trying every possible remedy for your baby, until one way or another. While in his last few living panels, Yon may be skinnier, scragglier, sickly, in the last panel we actually see him in, a reflection of how he was in life, he's drawn with smooth, healthy lines, closed eyes, and a content smile. The family would soon be grateful he had gone peacefully when he did. While Moo sits in a veranda cage on the balcony meant for Yon, the earth begins to shake. This bonus story was written after the disaster which befell Chiba on March 11th, 2011, the Great Tohoku Earthquake. The 2-page story was written to raise money for cat shelters following the quakes, included in a book titled Teach Me, Michael, a textbook in support of feline disaster victims. I don't know who Michael is. Besides an extra Q&A, the last section of Junji Ito's Cat Diary is an incredibly touching few paragraphs written by Eiko in memory of Yon. I find the way that she expresses the conflicting feelings around this type of loss to be incredibly poignant and honest. It recognizes the relief, describing how he flew away over the horizon, along with the gratitude mixed with the grief. Yonsuke was the star of our household, even in manga form. No matter how creepy his face was, he was my precious little baby. Thank you for supporting me, no matter how useless I was sometimes. Junji Ito's Cat Diary is a story about normal life, the joy, the anxieties, the hope of a new family, and the horror of having to say goodbye to even one part of that family. And it's a wonderful thing for stuff to just be normal. Don't you think? I decided to make this video now because very soon, at the end of September, Crunchyroll is releasing their adaptation of Uzumaki. Black and white CGI and 2D animation. I have literally never liked a Junji Ito adaptation, but this one looks pretty good. Folks, I really hope you enjoyed talking about one of Junji Ito's most unique and certainly one of his most light-hearted stories. I've got some really fun stuff coming up for the rest of the fall, but that is the video for this week, y'all. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching that video. If you made it to this point, a double thank you as always. Thank you so much. Yeah, this was a really fun one to talk about. I've had Cat Diary for a while. I really like it because I might have cats. I'm very scared of getting doxxed, or swatted. I've had several nightmares about that. My overwhelming fan base, it just gets a little scary sometimes. But yeah, if I had a fish, I wouldn't even tell you guys. But yeah, I do love cats. I will say that much at least. And so what I have to show off for this week is another little horror book called Cat-Eyed Boy. It's actually a rather meaty horror book. This is by Kazuo Umez, and Cat-Eyed Boy is just such a fun character. He's kind of reminiscent of, like, Tomi or Soichi, because, like, I'm kind of noticing that this seems to maybe be, like, an archetype in Japanese horror manga, is, like, just a, like, someone who's just doing a mean adventure, like, every week or however often these were coming out, because, like, you know, Soichi, he's doing, like, his curses and stuff. Cat-Eyed Boy, I mean, wherever he goes, disturbing tales of both men and monsters begin to unfurl. That's from the back there. Yeah, Cat-Eyed Boy is really fun. Kazuo Umez is an inspiration for Junji Ito. So, yeah, it's really good. I really like it. I don't think that's that surprising. But yeah, we've got some really good stuff coming up here soon, including, I told you guys about stuff already, like last video I made, I think. I'll talk to y'all next time. Goodbye.